Service and Administration Minister Mzamo Buthelezi says South Africa is not opposed to paying whistleblowers. Buthelezi says the idea is under discussion in the country, and that's in order to find ways to protect those who help fight corruption. The Whistleblower Protection Bill is expected to be tabled in Parliament later this year. Joining us is Mzamo Buthelezi, Public Service Administration Minister. Baba, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Not opposed to the idea. What has brought this about exactly?
Thank you for having us on your platform, Arabile. We have just had our inaugural summit on the anti-corruption working group, discussing a number of issues. And you will understand that as the presidency of the G20, South Africa has its own priorities, meaning areas where we would like to focus on, so that at the end of our presidency, we can say, tick and be satisfied that during our presidency, this is how much ground we have covered, it's how much we have done. So the issue that we are raising, which relates to paying whistleblowers, you will understand that it falls part of our, what you call, fourth priority, which is the protection of whistleblower as a key element in enhancing anti-corruption effort. Because we understand as government that many individuals are hesitant to report corruption for fear of retaliation. So therefore, the anti-corruption working group explored a number of issues, a number of legislative reforms that could provide a robust protection for those who come forward to report any act of criminality that is taking place within our institutions and also in the public sector. So the issue of paying whistleblowers came in the meeting from one participant who was also, because we understand that this is a group of 20 countries which comes together to identify ways and means to deal with a number of issues. So what we are saying, therefore, as a country is that we are not opposed to that, as much as it's a matter that is under discussion, and this was the first inaugural meeting. But we are saying if, therefore, throughout our presidency, when we are having such meetings, and that's a matter that is canvassed enough, then you'll understand that at the end of the year, you are going to have a ministerial, what you call, summit, which will eventually be followed by the presidents, now heads of states. If then that matter is able to see its way through, then it will be considered. But as a country, we are saying that we are not opposed to any measure or any means that can help us to advance our cause. If there is a feeling that people will come forward, people will report and wrongdoings and corruption, if they are incentivized, that can be something that we can, because you will know that all those people are coming forth reporting wrongdoing that is coming at their great personal cost. So if therefore the need for compensation, the South African government will look into that.
Minister, help me understand this though, and I'm trying to understand it at just a fundamentally basic level. How does paying a whistleblower protect them?
Two things. We are not saying paying them protects them, but what we are saying is that in most cases, they will be reluctant. So wherever there is an incentive for whatever that, even yourself, when you are given an incentive for performing your work in a satisfactory or above the target, then you are incentivized. Then that means, therefore, you are getting encouraged to do so. We know that paying them won't protect them, but it will be a way of incentivizing them to say, thank you for coming out, because we are fully aware as to how much difficult it is for whistleblowers to actually blow the whistle. Even those that decide to do so, they have to take a personal decision to say, come hell or high water, we are going to do this. You understand that there are people who have lost their lives because they have blown the whistle. So it's not necessarily about protecting that part, but it's more about encouraging them to come forth and to say there is benefit in as far as exposing wrongdoing is concerned. And as I said, that this is a matter that was discussed by the group coming from one of the member states, And I'm saying now, as South Africans, because these discussions are meant to look at different ways as to how we can enhance our work.
Sure.
If then that is a considered view, then why not?
Does this, so it doesn't necessarily pass the responsibility of dealing with corruption onto civil servants and civil society, does it? It's still going to be ultimately government's responsibility to root out corruption.
Does not at all pass the responsibility. And again, I need to actually correct the point that it's not government responsibility to deal with corruption, because you will understand that government as government cannot be corrupt unless there are people who are involved, which involve the public itself, which involves private sector. For example, if you talk about the illicit financial flows in the country and embezzling of government funds, people don't simply go to treasury and take the money. That money gets transferred through different accounts, meaning even the private sector, including banks, are involved. Hence, therefore, our third priority speaks to an all-inclusive approach, saying that government alone shall never pass this unless civil society comes on board, academia comes on board, and every citizen, because if you are speaking about active citizenry, that is where we are talking about citizens who are taking responsibility, who are doing that which is right, did not wait for someone else, yes.
Baba.
So this is a multi-approach, yes.
Look, I'm still struggling perhaps a little bit with the idea of it not being government's responsibility necessarily to deal with corruption when we've got so many corruption trials happening, so many of those issues. But let me go to this because I have run out of time.
I'm not saying that. Allow me, I'm not saying that. I said it is government's responsibility to deal with corruption, but government alone cannot, because corruption must understand there must be somebody, like if it comes to bribery, there must be somebody who is bribing, who may not necessarily be a government official. So we are saying all of us collectively as government taking a lead, of course, civil society, academia, and everybody, because we can't leave this to government alone. That's what I'm saying. I even raised the issue of private sector coming on board, in particular banks, so that they make sure that there is no monies that are moving around banks unauthorized or unduly so.
Minister, just very short on time. Does it not create an issue of having false whistleblowers come to the fore? Does it also not put their lives at risk as well very quickly?
It does not at all. That is a misinterpretation of the whole idea. Here, it does not mean that if you simply blow a whistle, then you are getting paid. No. Here we are talking about whistleblowers who are reporting things that are taking place. And then those will be followed through. Then when culprits are found, then it's only then. And remember that as this is just an idea, when it's adopted, there will be ways and means as to how then do we begin to compensate and under what circumstances, if you understand what I'm trying to say. It wouldn't be like if you just simply blow a whistle, then people will simply just be paid money. No. There will be some checks and balances in place, making sure that no one is falsely accused. And remember, here in South Africa, we've got a law that says you are innocent until proven guilty. So it doesn't mean that if I say Arabile is corrupt, he has embezzled money, then I'm paid and then you will be taken to jail. No. It must be a process that would be followed to prove that.
Is there space in the budget for all of this?
Yes?
Space in the budget?
For all of this?
Correct, yes. Is there space in the budget for this? Considering we're headed to budget now, so many constraints.
You must also understand that this was the first inaugural, what you call, anti-corruption working group, which will culminate in the 2 meetings that I've said. And then only then that it has been adopted, then we can come back now and Treasury will see as to how he finances the Department of Justice and Correctional Services to be able to meet with this. For now, it's just a discussion matter. It's just a proposal for government of the group of 20 big economies to explore if that can or cannot assist in our fight against the corruption.
Very illuminating discussion. I look forward to continuing to have this with you, in fact, when it does come to fruition as well. Nkosi, siyabonga. Thank you so much for the time.